Hey guys, welcome back to Embers and Ash. My name's Ashley, if you didn't know, and today I want to talk to you guys about all the mistakes I've made as a parent of a toddler. Most of these started off, I think, as just innocent little things, and they eventually turned into bad habits or immediately turned into bad habits. So I wanted to share this with you guys to normalize screwing up and also maybe help prevent you from making the same mistakes. So the first mistake I've made, I recently talked about this in the vlog, and that is giving too many snacks. So the reason I did this was because we were teaching Rook sign language and like how to use eat to say that you're hungry. And so every time he would sign that he was hungry, I wanted to feed him so that he understood that like that's what it meant. But that led to him doing it all the time and getting so many snacks, which wasn't an issue at the beginning. But as time went on, it meant that he was eating less and less of his meals and more snacks, to the point where he like wasn't eating his meals. So it was a hard transition out of it, but a quick transition of just like nearly cutting out snacks completely. It wasn't easy. There were a lot of tears, and I would still give in to snacks every once in a while, but it was if we were still like a couple hours away from a meal kind of thing. And since then, Rook has been eating his meals pretty much fully, unless it's something he really doesn't like. So yeah, just be so careful with snacks. I'm glad we're out of that stage, not that we won't ever go back to it, but it's just so frustrating when your kid isn't eating their meal that you've spent time making and money on. The second mistake was basically teaching him to throw food. I know, like, obviously that's a mistake. This blame goes on to Josh, and I'm not trying to, like, call him out, but, like, it just literally was his fault. So Josh was just being silly, and a lot of these things happen just because you're being silly and having a good time with your kid. But Josh was throwing pancakes onto the table from the kitchen to give to Rook, and he was laughing, loving it. It was so funny. I was laughing, but then next thing you know, Rook's throwing the pancakes. So what was just like a fun, innocent game turned into a disaster and a potentially bad habit. And sure enough, as time went on, the rest of the day, the next following days, Rook was throwing food. It took one incident and then it was a habit. So that was really frustrating. I'm sure we'll get back into the throwing food phase because I know it's a real struggle, but we are out of it right now. I just did the one technique I've heard of, which is when your kid throws food, you just end the meal, and that solved it pretty quickly, especially because it was such a new thing he was doing. But I'm so scared of getting back into that throwing food stage because it's so frustrating. The third mistake I made, I think I've talked about this before. I can't remember a lot of things. But that was with brushing Rook's teeth. So I think you're supposed to start brushing their teeth or their gums when they start on solids, and we just straight up didn't. I didn't think about it. I didn't even like know that I was not doing it. Like I just didn't even realize. And then after a little while, I did learn like, oh shoot, I should be brushing his teeth, and then straight up didn't do it. Not on purpose, just every day I would forget. And I know that sounds super lame, like, but I think because we're on different schedules, like I brush my teeth at a different time than he does at night, and I would just forget all the time. And then I went to the dentist and I was like, hey, so like, how often should I be brushing my son's teeth? Like once a day? And she's like, no, twice a day. And I was like, ooh, okay, I'm totally screwing that up. And that really like kicked me in the butt and got me to stay on top of it. I just started setting alarms. I don't know why I didn't do that earlier, but it was just like, I don't know why. It was the hardest thing for me to remember. And I feel really guilty about it, even though his teeth are probably fine, but he also doesn't love having his teeth brushed now, and I wonder if it would have been easier, or if it would be easier if we had started earlier and more consistently. The fourth mistake I feel like a lot of parents have made, and that is leaving your child in just a diaper. Eventually, your kid will learn how to take their diaper off, and it is very scary. And like, I know this, but I still sometimes do it because I think, oh, if he starts to take it off, I can hear the like Velcro sound. And so I left him in his diaper because it was like a hot day or something, and he didn't rip the Velcro off. He just literally pulled it down without me noticing, and there was a big turd in there. It was so stressful. So I run over to him and I go to pick him up, but if I pick him up, he starts like kicking his feet as if he wants to kick off his pants. That's just like what he does. So he's trying to kick his diaper off that's full of poo. And so I had to like drag his feet on the ground to prevent. It was very stressful, and now I don't leave him in a diaper ever. The next mistake I've made has been an ongoing one. Like when Rook started to crawl, I really learned that you need to set your house up in a way that's safe for children. Like when you find out you're pregnant, stop buying like home decor that isn't gonna work with a child, because it's gonna be just a waste of money. So I knew that, but the mistake I've been making is not taking into account that Rook is gonna grow and more things are gonna have to be baby-proofed over time because he gets taller. So like I have a little table over here, and for the longest time it was great. He couldn't reach anything up there, safe spot. Of course now he's tall enough that he can reach basically to the back, so everything I had on there has to move pretty much. And I'm not learning my lesson. Like, oh, also in the kitchen, the top drawers, I didn't put baby locks on that because he couldn't reach them, and then eventually he could reach them and open them, but he couldn't reach inside, and now he can reach inside and take all the cutlery out, all that stuff. So the lesson I've learned is to not bare minimum baby proof, really try and plan ahead, because otherwise things are gonna get messed up. Rook's gonna get into stuff he's not supposed to, or I'm gonna waste money on things that aren't gonna work out. And the last mistake I've made with Rook, again, is an ongoing one because it starts off so innocent, and that is making something a game that again turns into a bad habit. For example, Rook learned that we had curtains and would go hide behind it and be all cute. So I would like peek at him and like we'd play hide and seek kind of thing, or peekaboo, or whatever you would call it. But then the curtains are a game and he starts like rolling around in them, pulling on them, and all of a sudden I'm regretting my decision and I have to teach him not to play with that thing that I just told him was okay to play with. So definitely confusing for him, frustrating for me. So I really try to analyze whether something should be a game or not right when it's kind of evolving into that. And I'm sure more of these will happen in the future because sometimes you can't tell whether something's gonna turn into a bad habit, but I'm trying to be more aware and stay on top of it. So those are all the mistakes I've made with a toddler. Let me know if you've made the same, if you've made more, any mistakes you've made. Maybe I've made them as well and have forgotten. I hope you guys enjoyed this video of just real life as a parent. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.